I'm going to show you how to complete the problems from your math book on page 88. Example 1. A youth summer camp has budgeted $2,000 for the campers to attend the carnival. So right there I want to talk about the word budgeted. That means that the summer camp set aside $2,000 for their campers to attend and go to a carnival. The cost for each camper is $17.95. which includes general admission to the carnival and 2 meals. So at $17.95 for one camper, that's how much it costs for them to get into the carnival, and then how much it costs to feed them 2 meals. The youth summer camp must also pay $250 for the chaperones to attend the carnival and $350 for transportation to and from the carnival. What's the greatest number of campers who can attend the carnival if the camp must stay within its budgeted amount? Okay, so they've set aside this amount of money. They know they have to pay this much per camper, and then this flat rate of this for $250 for the chaperones, and then $350 to get to and from the carnival. So we've underlined some keywords and phrases, and you'll notice the question mark sentence right here. What's the greatest number of campers who can attend the carnival if the camp must stay within its budgeted amount? So I'm going to use that as my variable, or to represent my variable. I'll use X, and that's what it represents. X represents the greatest number of campers who can attend the carnival. Okay, so let's go ahead and build our inequality. So this is the number of campers. And how much does it cost per camper? $17.95. So we're going to multiply that. And then remember, there's some expenses. They not only have to pay for each of those campers, they have to pay that $250 for the chaperones to come. So we're adding to the expenses. And there's more expenses. They have to pay $350 to get the people transported to and from the carnival. And remember, their budget is $2,000. So we're comparing these expenses to $2,000. So right here, this is the expense or the cost. And that's its cost. And that's got to be $2,000 or less. All right. So now you've got to determine which inequality to use. So it's okay to, just kind of guess and then see if it makes sense in the context of the problem. That's why I've been labeling everything right here to help you with that. So could it cost exactly $2,000 and would they remain in budget? Yep. So we can have that part of that inequality. Now let's see. If the cost was bigger than or equal to $2,000, would that help them remain in budget? No. You don't want the cost to be more than $2,000. So that's why that would not be correct. Let's look at this one. Less than or equal to. So you want the cost to be less than $2,000 or equal to $2,000. So this is the proper inequality that you can use, that you should use for this problem. All right, before building it, you'll notice that there's some constants right here that we need to combine, those like terms, prior to building it. So we need to go 250 plus 350, and that's a positive 600. Okay, now bring everything down. 17 and 95 times x plus 600 is less than or equal to 2,000. Okay, now that we've simplified it, now you can go ahead and build it so we can eventually solve it. Start with x, then we multiplied it by $17.95. After that, we added 600. Okay, the inverse operation of adding 600 is subtracting 600. So that's what you'll do to both sides of that inequality sign. 600 take away 600 is 0. 2,000 subtract 600 is 1,400 or 1,400. Bring down your inequality sign and bring down $17.95 times x. Okay, now go ahead and go back up. Inverse operation of multiplying is to divide. So you're going to divide both sides by $17.95. $17.95. All right, 17 and 95 hundredths divided by 17 and 95 hundredths is 1. 1 times x is 1x, or x. I'm going to write it over here, okay? And 1,400 divided by 1795. Should probably get that. And I'm just going to round it to the nearest hundredth. And you look at this is the tenths place and the hundredths place. And then you look behind the hundredths place. And if the number behind the hundredths place is 5 or above, you would round this number up. But it's not. It's 4. So that would be the answer rounded to the nearest hundredth. And we're going to keep the inequality sign consistent because you'll notice as we solved it, or when we solved it, it would not multiply or divide by a negative number. So keep it facing the same direction. Okay, so you'll think, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and, x represents the number of campers, so we can't have 99 hundredths of a camper. So you might automatically think, oh, we got to round it up to 78 people, 78 campers. But unfortunately, if it was 78 campers, that would put them over budget. You know, I know your instinct is to round it to 78, obviously because it's people, and you can't have 99 hundredths of a person, but that would put them over budget. So I want you to reevaluate your thinking real quick. I'm going to prove to you, if 78 campers went, that would put them over their $2,000 budget. Here's how I do that. So 78, I'll type that in, and we're going to multiply that by $17.95 because that's how much it costs for them to, each one of them to go individually. $17.95. Okay, so that's how much it costs to have the campers go. Okay, but then remember you have these other expenses: the $250 for the chaperones, plus the $350 for transportation. So you'll see it puts them, if there were 78 campers that went, it would put them over budget by 10 cents. And that may not, that might not seem a lot to some people, but they have a goal specifically outlined right here that they want to remain within budget. So don't you dare put 78 campers. You would put, how many campers? You'd put 77 campers can go. 77 campers can attend. And this will keep them in budget. Okay, so let me show you. 77 campers, if that went, that would put them under their budget, within their budget. So $17.95 for each 77 campers. And then that's how much it would cost for those 77 campers to go. And then we got to add that $250 for the chaperones. And we got to add that $350 for transportation. And see how this number puts them underneath their budget. It's under their budget. So that's why 77 campers can go. Okay? Next problem. The carnival owner pays the owner of an exotic animal exhibit $650 for the entire time the exhibit is displayed. So let's kind of relate that to us. So you go down to the fair, and the owner of the fair, or the person that's running the fair, is going to give some animal, like exotic animal person, $650 for them to come and show off their animals at the fair. Okay, that's all that they got to pay them. For the entire time that animal person is at that carnival, they have to just pay $650 for them to be there. Because obviously they're not going to come show off their animals for free. They probably have the business. The owner of the exhibit, so the wild animal person, has got no other expenses except for a daily insurance cost. So they're going to get paid this amount for the entire time they're there, but each day that wild animal person has to pay an insurance fee every single day. And that's probably just in case, like, an iguana bites a kid or something like that. And the owner of that animal exhibit wants to make more than $500 in profits for the 5.5 days that they're there. What's the greatest daily insurance rate he can afford to pay? Okay, so yeah, he's making the $650 the entire time he's there, but each day, remember, he's got to pay insurance. So if he, after paying all that insurance and stuff, he wants to make more than $500 in profits. So we got to know the greatest daily insurance rate that this person can afford to pay. So I'll use X, and that's going to represent the greatest daily insurance rate he can afford to pay. That says the greatest daily insurance rate he can afford. I went off the paper. So that says he can afford, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and build our inequality. All right, so that's the daily insurance. And how many days is this guy going to be there? 5.5 days. And I don't really want to deal with a fraction in the context of this problem necessarily. So 5.5 is the same as, if you want to find the decimal equivalent, I know it's going to be 5 whole point. If you're like, well, what's 1/2 as a decimal? If you're ever like, I don't know how to make the fraction as a decimal, you take the numerator divided by the denominator. I'm going to demonstrate that just in case you forgot. So it's 1 divided by 2, the top number divided by the bottom number. 1 divided by, oops, I turned my calculator. 1 divided by 2 is 5/10. So this would be 5 5/10. Okay? This is the same as this. Those are equivalent. All right, anyway, so that's how much he's got to pay in insurance. 5.5 days, and then we got to figure out what that insurance rate, that daily insurance is. That's how many days it is. And remember, he gets paid, so he starts out with that $650. Then he's got to pay this daily insurance for the 5.5 days. And he wants to make more than $500. We're comparing it with $500, okay? So this right here is how much he gets paid. And this right here is that insurance that he has to pay. Insurance has to pay. Insurance he has to pay. Okay, so he gets paid that, but he wants this amount to be more than 500. Okay, so more than 500. If I went this way, is this more than 500? Nope. If you went this way, is this more than 500? Nope. I mean, hold on. What am I doing? So, what was I doing? So, if we had it, if we had it this way, is that more than 500? Nope. Okay, if we had it this way, is that more than 500? Yes. Because he gets paid this much and then subtracts that. He wants this amount to be more than 500. Sorry. Oh, brain spasm. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it over here because I need more room. And we can go ahead and build that right now because it's already in the form. There's nothing we have to combine. So we start with X. And after that, they multiplied it by negative 5.5. And then after that, they added 650. Inverse operation of adding 650 is to subtract 650 from both sides of that inequality. 500 subtract 650 is negative 150. Bring down your negative 5.5x. Keep that consistent with the inequality. Okay, now go back up. All right, the inverse operation of multiplying by negative 5.5 is dividing by negative 5.5. Look, you just divided by a negative number. So you should remember what to do at the very end of this. Negative 5.5 divided by negative 5.5 is 1. 1 times x is x. And then a negative divided by a negative, you should hopefully remember what that is. And if you're like, I don't remember this little thing that works with only multiplication and division. So to read this for dividing, you read the columns. If it was multiplication, you'd read the rows, okay? But columns for division, it's a negative divided by a negative. So is this a negative divided by a negative? Nope, it's a positive divided by a negative. Negative divided by positive? Nope. Negative divided by negative is a positive answer. So negative 150 divided by negative 5 5/10 is going to be a positive answer. And that would be 150 divided by, that is what I got. So I'm going to round to nearest hundredth. So tenths place, hundredths place, thousandths place, you're going to look right there. And if that number behind that 7 is 5 or above, then this 7 turns into an 8, but it's not, so we just keep it like there. 27, 27. Okay, stop right there. Remember how you divided by a negative? You need to reverse the sign. Okay? So let's go ahead and interpret this in the context of the problem. So X represented the greatest daily insurance rate he can afford. So the greatest insurance rate he can afford has to be less than $27.27. Okay? I'm going to write a sentence for that. So as long as it's less than $27.27, he's cool. If it's exactly $27.27, he's going to break even. He won't make more than $500. Okay? After paying insurance. Here's insurance. To meet his goal is less than $27.27. Okay? Next problem. Example number 3. Several vendors at the carnival sell products and advertise their businesses. So relating that to us at the fair, you know, when you go into the commercial booth, the commercial building, those are all vendors. So several vendors at the carnival, they sell products and advertise their businesses. Shane works for a recreational company that sells ATVs, dirt bikes, snowmobiles, and motorcycles. So that'd be like Moses Lake Power Sports, okay? And so he's going to the carnival, and he's going to show their merchandise and stuff. So his boss paid him $500. Oh, he got $500 for working all of the days at the carnival. All right, so just for going to the carnival, he gets $500, you know, for the entire time he's there. Plus 5% commission on all the sales made at the carnival. So the word commission, that means like, you know, when someone sells you something, if they get paid commission, that means they get kind of a portion of the amount you paid for the product. So if you've ever been to like the mall, I know some of the stores there, this is where the workers work on commission, or they get commission on everything they sell. I think like the Buckle, like if you go into the store, the Buckle, how sometimes those workers are kind of pushy sometimes, like they're really overly eager to help you. Well, I think that's because they make, I don't know if they still do, but they make commission. So if you buy that pair of jeans, they make a little bit of money because they sold it to you, okay? So similar to that, this Shane guy, if he sells an ATV or whatever, then he's going to make a little bit of the money if he's the one that sold it to you, okay? So that's what commission means. And he gets 5% commission on all the sales made at the carnival. So whatever that grand total of sales he sells, that amount he sells, he gets 5% of that money that was made at that carnival. What's the minimum amount of sales Shane needs to make if he earned more than $1,500? Oh, so he made more than that money. More than that. That's key. So we gotta figure out how much in sales did he have. So X is gonna represent the minimum number of sales. Shane's, I guess. I'm gonna abbreviate. To make more than 1,500. Okay, and keep in mind he made $500 just for showing up, so that's included in this amount right here. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and build it. Start with that variable. So this is the minimum number of sales, and remember, Shane got 5% of those sales. 5%. That's how much he made. So 5%, we can't put 5% like that, okay? So if you recall from our unit and our time spent with fractions, decimals, and percents, 5% as a decimal, well, the decimal as a percentage is right there. We're just too lazy to write it. To go from a percentage to a decimal, you need to basically divide it by 100. Okay, so that would be it as a decimal. One way that I showed you this is to go 2 to the left and then fill in your empty cheek, okay? So it'd be 0.05 or 5/100 as a decimal. Okay, so that represents right there the commission he made on the sales that we don't know yet. And remember, he still made that $500 just for going there for those days from his boss. Okay, so that was his pay. That's how much he got paid. And we're comparing that with that $1,500. So the amount he got paid was more than that. So he made this amount was more than this. So does that make sense? No, because the pay would not be less than $1,500 because it literally says he made more than that. Did he make exactly that? No, he made more than that. So this is the one. Okay. All right. Looks like we could totally build it right now. So for our variable, started with that, and then we multiplied it by 5/100, and then after that we added 500. Okay, so we're going to subtract 500 from both sides because that's the inverse operation. 500 minus 500 is 0. 1,500 or 1,500, same thing, minus 500 is 1,000. Bring down your inequality and then bring down your 5/100 x. Okay, now go up. Inverse operation to multiply by that is to divide by that. Divide to both sides of the inequality. Okay, that divided by that is 1. 1 times x is x. And then 1,000 divided by 0.05 or 5/100 is 20,000. So keep your inequality sign consistent because you notice we did not divide or multiply by a negative, so you keep the inequality consistent. So now let's go ahead and answer it. X represented Shane's minimum number of sales to make more than $1,500. So his minimum number of sales he needed to make, he made more than $20,000 in sales. That's how he sold that, more than that amount to make that, to make this amount of pay. So let me kind of put that in a nicer sentence. The min amount of sales Shane made was more than $20,000 worth. Wow. All right, bye.